What's up? We're back with another review of WandaVision. This time it's episode 7, and let's jump right in. And we're not going to go in order this episode. We're going to kind of hit the specifics and then go from there, talk about what we really want to talk about. So, first, let's start from the end. This is spoiler review, by the way. So, if you haven't seen it so far, hop off, watch the episode, and then come back so we can talk spoilers. But, okay, your warning's done. Going spoilers now. Agatha Harkness was Agnes in the maybe least surprising news that we got in weeks that we kind of knew.
Yeah,
What's up with that?
some there are like a few of my friends who are like, "Oh my God, I didn't expect this," and I was like, "It happened. We've been saying this for. We've been waiting. You and I have been waiting for this since like episode
Yeah,
5." So nice to see it finally. Like it was such a weird delayed reaction from me because she was like, "My name's Agatha Harkness," and I was just like, it was like completely neutral, and I was like, "Oh my God, it happened!" I was like, "Finally." But yeah, like we've been waiting for it. We've called it, and it happened. So now we
yeah.
know.
I really feel like this reveal could have come an episode sooner. To be perfectly honest, I think like the fake out they had last episode it didn't make me more surprised. Right, that scene with her at the edge of town. So then my
Yeah.
question is, what purpose does that scene serve to the story? Because that's supposed to be a big scene, and it really doesn't serve the story. I
What,
mean,
if anything? Yeah, you go. Sorry.
yeah, it's just I just feel like it's almost like they dragged out a 2 episode, and we'll get into this in my general thoughts of the episode. But go ahead.
I feel like because if like Wanda's in the same getup as in the trailer where she goes to Vision and she's like, "This is our home. Let's fight for it." I feel like if anything, the next episode is going to be some sort of like kind of like episode 4 was, where it was like an exposition, like fill in the blanks. So if anything, I feel like it could be Agnes focused, and then we'll be like, "Oh, like this is why, who, what, where, and when," and then episode 9 will be the true like all out like battle finale type thing. So I feel like it was just sort of them like we're gonna probably get like a recap of everything she's been, all the scenes she's been in just from her perspective, and it'll be kind of like, oh, that's what like you and I have like kind of had an understanding of what she was doing, but we'll, I don't know, maybe we'll get like a flashback to like pre WandaVision, like, and she'll like reach out to Wanda and she'll be like, "Here I am, like I'm a friend. I'm here to like give you like help and advice or whatever," and it spirals into that. Maybe she's the one who eggs Wanda onto like body snatch, not technically body snatch, but take Vision's body back. I feel like if anything, next week's episode is gonna be like that, like fill in the blanks type thing, exposition wise.
Yeah, I think some of the other interesting things to note. Um, we're gonna move on from because there's not really too much to talk about. It's like there is the hilarious montage of like them saying like it was Agatha like the whole time, and that she like now I'm confused. Is she the one who was airing the sitcoms?
I don't know. Like what I thought was really interesting was that first conversation between her and Wanda. Like when she came to take the kids away, and Wanda said something like, "Oh, is there anything I can do for you?" And I was like, "That's really layered dialogue." That because she's really asking like we've been saying like deal with the devil, like that's been the concept, and we're like she really just said like, "Is there anything I can do to you?" And Agnes waves her off. And I was like, "That's definitely gonna bite her in the ass later."
Yeah,
So I don't know. I mean, maybe I feel like maybe Agnes is carrying out like, she got her orders from her boss, and like she's like carrying it out however she sees fit. I because like as because they the sword people did say the broadcast stopped, so it's not like they were like we were the only ones watching what was happening in Westview. They were totally cut off. So if anything, like maybe Agnes has like just been like letting Wanda. Maybe it was like a leash thing, like she was letting Wanda go, but like at a certain point when the leash like hit that point, like no, like there was like, and then like she just kind of like retracted it and like pulled her back to like keep her in control, stuff like that. I don't know, maybe I don't know if that's the right imagery, but I feel like that's like she's letting Wanda play on her own until now.
yeah. I think she's. I don't know if she's the main villain. She may be the main villain for WandaVision, but I don't think she's the main. It seems like she's working for someone. Am I right? Like she. It seems like I don't know. I think we would have gotten more of a story as to her as a main if she was the main villain for this next kind of mini arc for the MCU.
I could see like Wanda, like she gets pissed off for like a variety of reasons that could happen in the season finale, and then she goes in search of Agnes's boss, leading us to Multiverse of Madness.
Right.
So like, yeah, like the boss will be the boss battle of Doctor Strange 2 is but probably how this will unfold.
Unless, who knows, Wanda could kill Agnes and just become the villain herself.
This is true as well. This is true as well.
Um, because honestly, for there's no coming back from her. I can't see her as a hero. I can understand her and be sympathetic to why she has become who she's become, but when you do that to a town of people, I mean, there's no coming back from that.
And she seems to have accepted it too with the rather on the nose but also very just direct, maybe I am with Monica. She, she says like don't become the villain. She's like maybe I am. Like she's already seems to be like willing to sacrifice that hero status for a chance at happiness, which yeah, she'll become the Scarlet Witch and become the villain of Multiverse of Madness. That could be how it plays out as well.
Yeah, let's move backwards now, and we're going to talk about that scene. Let's run through Monica Rambeau's whole arc for the episode. She meets the agent. Who was this big agent going to be? Reed Richards. Um, could it be Mysterio? No, it's just some person, random person.
See, I thought about that because I saw that too, and I was like, you gotta be shitting me. To quote Steve Rogers, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. But I don't think that's it because Paul Bettany also recently said he's like, the cameo hasn't been revealed. He's like, it's with an actor I've always wanted to work with. And I don't know who the actress is. I'm sure she's great, but I'm also like, I don't think that's who Bettany was talking about. So I think, and yeah, I think he also said that like he kind of said it wasn't Doctor Strange. Not to say that Doctor Strange, as you have been saying, will not show up, but I also think there's like a huge um, person we still haven't seen yet, and it seems that from Bettany's perspective, it's a huge casting. They've somehow managed to sneak under us, which very WandaVision of the crew. So I don't think it's her. I think that was like some sort of weird fake out for whatever reason.
Yeah, the question is just who could it be? But we'll get onto that later. But Monica Rambeau essentially tries to go through with that space truck or whatever that they have, and it doesn't work. It's getting pushed back. She jumps out and then decides to go in, and now we got super powered Monica Rambeau. Um, what was your? How surprised were you to that reveal coming in this episode?
I think I was more surprised at the fact that from the way that her like space Under Armour suit looked, it kind of looked like the photon costume, which I remember saying last week. I was like, I don't think they're gonna show that, but I was like, oh shoot, they kind of their own way they kind of did show it. And for a hot second, I thought there was gonna be like a full on superpower fight between her and Wanda in Westview, which I thought again was really interesting. When Agnes like again diffused a moment of conflict for Wanda. Um, I don't know. That's like Monica was ready to go. She doesn't. I don't think she understands what's happening to her, but she was fully ready to go with like fight Wanda at the moment, which was insane.
Yeah, maybe a little bit irrational too, because I'm pretty sure Wanda could crush her, superpowers or not. I don't know what her power set's going to be like, but it's kind of hard to be more powerful than Wanda, who almost single-handedly would have taken down Thanos if Thanos wasn't just smarter than everyone except for Tony Stark in that. Um, but I thought that was really interesting. The scene where she lands, like a badass superhero landing, man. I love a good badass superhero landing. Shout out to Deadpool. I'm looking at you. Um, if you guys get that reference, you know. But it's really interesting how that character's. I think that's going to then play into the rest of the last two episodes in the post-credit scene
Yeah,
with Pietro and oh my gosh,
Pietro.
Monica Rambeau.
Yeah,
Let's talk about that moment. What do you think that's supposed to mean? Do you think Pietro is still being controlled by Agnes, or do you think it's something else?
Pietro. Honestly, because I thought originally Pietro was Agatha's boss. Like he or she decided. It's probably me. He like showed up and like wanted to take stock in the situation, but like that during that like Agatha montage, you see her like her purple smoke, excuse me, like emitting from him. So I think he's more of like this drone, this zombie that she like conjured up, and he's more of like a drone an enforcer than an actual like person, which kind of explains the whole like memory gap thing from the Halloween episode. Like and how yeah, you had to keep like dodging like answers or whatever. But like I feel like if anything, yeah, I feel like he's a drone or something. He's gonna be probably be there for Monica or Vision to like punch or whatever in the finale.
Yeah, the thing for me is like they really have to justify why they're using Quicksilver from the X-Men, because right now they're not. To be
Yeah,
perfectly honest,
I feel
they don't give me a good reason of why they recast it with the X-Men version and not just some dude playing
right.
Pietro.
With all the Spider-Man stuff, I'm sure there's like some sort of reason, but at the same time, like this could be some sort of like early Mysterio type fake out, where they were like, the multiverse is real, and they're like, actually, he was lying about that, only to reveal a year later, they're like, actually, the multiverse is gonna be like real. So I feel like it could be some sort of delayed like fake out. We're all just gonna let our guard down and be like, oh, it's just they were doing that because like as a fan thing, only to maybe later realize like, oh no, that was something like that was like key to what was happening.
Yeah, I'm really curious where it's gonna go from here. Um, I think another thing that I want to talk about is the whole Vision part of this story. Did you like what happened with how the Vision and Darcy stuff played out this episode?
It was it felt a little unbalanced, especially coming off the major like events of episode of the Halloween episode, just because like it um because it was essentially Darcy giving him exposition, and like while it was cool for him to hear back his history, and he has that one line where it's like, I didn't realize how much Wanda has lost. It was also kind of like, we know this stuff. Like you feel like he was aware of it already. I mean, I like the moment where like they couldn't get past the traffic light. I thought that was a little like quirky WandaVision thing to do. But I also felt like kind of a little frustrated like Vision, just because I was like, he's literally unable to get back to the main plot line. And while that works for the plot line, it's also kind of just, I don't know, as a viewer, I was kind of like, let's go, like there had to been something. He literally almost died last up. He was getting torn apart, and he's just kind of like all right about it. Also, I don't understand why he and Darcy were like, let's take the truck, when he clearly remembers he could fly and phase out later. I thought that was
Yeah.
just a weird, like, was that him being careless? Was that him still getting his bearings together? I was like, you could fly. You flew a few episodes ago when you were when you were arguing with Wanda. So like that seemed kind of a stupid oversight. I don't know. That's just me though. Little like slow, but I don't know, bits of entertaining in there.
Yeah, I think this goes into my bigger theme of the episode of the 2010s sitcom era didn't work.
Hmm.
I'm gonna be on. I've liked every other. Episode 1 and 2 were kind of. Actually, I
Yeah,
liked episode 2. Episode 1 was kind of iffy, to be
fair enough.
perfectly honest.
Fair enough.
But it worked because I felt like it worked within the era. Like it still worked. I feel like this doesn't even work within the 2010s era.
Yeah.
It feels like they're at the point where you're so close to modern day that it's like the talking to the camera meta-ness just doesn't work because you're already a meta show. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It was like because also at this point they're cutting to like the real world or whatever. So there's like there's a real world, there's the meta WandaVision Westview world, and there's like the meta-ness of like responding. At that point that just kind of cancels out.
Yeah.
Um I don't I think I was fine with like Wanda speaking, because I was like, maybe this is her version of like the thought bubbles in comics. It was the Vision ones that really took me out of the moment, because I'm like, this literally doesn't make any sense whatsoever continuity wise, and even on like a like for the sake of the show, I was like, this makes no sense whatsoever.
Right.
And like he realizes it at the end when he's like, what am I doing here? And he like kind of like walks off. But I was like, this literally did not make any sense. And this kind of just I felt also like the kind of like the humor aspect of it kind of fell flat specifically for his bits, because they just weren't,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like at least Wanda was reflecting on the past few episodes. Vision was just kind of like there.
Right. And the way Vision learns about what the other Vision's life was like. It just feels weird, and it doesn't feel like it quite hit the right way. And I
Yeah.
think that's not in the performances. I think that's in the way the information is conveyed to us.
Yeah.
Like this should be a heartbreaking scene. This should be a he's questioning like you know like who I am. I'm a construction of Wanda's. Like this should be
Yeah.
a major crisis on the character Vision, and it's not. It seems to be almost like played in a jokey way that is trying to sideline the character for an episode.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, like it felt like maybe like if they wanted to take this route, fine. There was just like he remember. I'm just going back to the fact that he knows he can fly, but you stuck him in a truck for and like had him at a
Yeah,
stoplight until he like just was like screw this and he leaves. I'm like, wait, I was like, why don't you just do that and like carry Darcy and let's go? It just felt like kind of a lazy way to like get around it, and it just I think it also would have made the whole like their whole sitcom meta element of this particular episode stronger if they didn't have Vision scenes. If it was just really Wanda talking to herself, or if as it was revealed, Wanda talking to Agnes, it would have been fine. It would have been a great, like, I know for me, I really loved Elizabeth Olsen this episode.
yeah.
But, like, I feel like the all the Vision stuff just really, which is funny because like last week's episode had some of the best Vision content, and so it felt like I don't know unbalanced in that way. They didn't know what to do with him for this episode.
Right. And there's like Wanda's amazing, and I really love how they've developed her story. But I feel like Vision is the character that we are going to sympathize with more. Um, and he feels more like the audience. And I
Yeah,
think they almost had it in this episode, but they didn't quite get to like more of the audience perspective of
yeah, it'll be
like what does my life mean, what does it mean to be alive only in this space, like that's those are the questions he should be asking out loud to Darcy. Like he should be
it's
expressing his fear, like he was said in
yeah.
episode 5 how scared he was with Wanda. Like that's what we want to see. That's the deep personal character development that we want out of Vision.
Right. That's why I'm hoping the finale. Like I don't have any doubts the finale will be insane, but like that's what I'm hoping the finale, especially if the next week's episode is like Agnes focused. Like next the finale has to like really just kind of wrap up Vision in whatever way, because we know Wanda's coming back in the MCU. We have no idea on Vision right now, so this could be it for him. So it's just like really stuck him in a truck. That's like if Justice League movie and like Superman's in the Batmobile and you're like, for whatever, why are you why are you in here right now? You could just you know
Yeah,
carry Batman and go.
yeah.
It just felt like a weird detour to like stick to character, and like there could have been a better way to like divide your time between like Wanda versus Agnes versus Monica getting in, and then I don't know, you could have done, I don't know, put Vision. I guess you have to put Vision somewhere, but it felt a bit just kind of like lazy. Kind of
Right.
lazy word.
And I mean, you could have made it so like Wanda's making it so he can't fly anymore, right? That would have been something that's really interesting and provided a legitimate reason as to why he's stuck in traffic, right?
Yeah,
Like Wanda's putting the like on your phone essentially like the parental control of what you can and can't do, and that would like
Mhm.
that would have story implications. It makes sense for how Wanda's treating Vision right now. I mean, it would make sense on the level of
Yeah,
like Vision is scared of Wanda because Wanda's controlling him, like him questioning, am I even
yeah.
my like who am I even a person? Am I even a thing,
He's
or am I just a construct?
yeah, he's just like he's a remote control like robot. Like he's just like going around in the controls. Like that could have been cool too. Like it could have been like he's flying and then he like drops into the ground because Wanda turned that off for him, so he has to like leg it across the fields, and then all that's when he gets stuck beneath like a tractor or whatever. And it's like I would have preferred that rather than him like again just in a truck with like if they had pulled if the last scene of them was them pulling into Westview, I would have been fine. It's the fact that he flew out of there like so confidently that I was like, that just makes the whole thing more like stupid in hindsight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was hopefully they rectify it for the finale.
Yeah, I hope so. Let's talk about the last thing before we get into kind of our final thoughts on what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
Director Hayward, is it?
Yeah, of Sword. Yeah.
Yeah. So we know by now they're trying to get Vision. They want Vision because they want the AI.
Mhm.
So they've been trying to rebuild him, and so they're trying to find a way to extract Vision.
Yeah.
That's their main goal. And we know coming up probably in the next episode, if not the finale, they have some sort of battle plan essentially that they're going to go in because they said we're going to do it today, essentially, without
Yeah.
telling us what it was. Um, I think it's shaping up to be really interesting with all these different sides because we're going to have the Agnes and Wanda thing going on. We're going to have Hayward coming at it from one angle. We're going to have Vision and Monica Rambeau coming at it from another angle. But what are your thoughts on Hayward specifically and what's going on with him?
I I really hope our scroll theory becomes true, just because I feel like it would be a great way to like help continue what has been like. Yes, he's been a very large jerk in the show, but he's also a fairly like easy one note villain. I'm just hoping like this could be a chance for him to like. There's more at stake. Like there's more like. So I'm hoping that, or not necessarily, that he doesn't necessarily have to be a scroll, but something along those lines. As for the fact that like these are our pieces on the board, I think it'll be interesting. You got like Monica. I can see Monica taking on Pietro, Vision taking on Sword, and then Wanda versus Agnes. You got a whole like West battle war in the suburbs thing. It'll look like the finale of Super 8 type thing. So
Yeah.
just chaos amongst the white picket fences. I think that would be crazy to watch unfold.
God, don't get me started about how much I love Super 8.
Mhm.
But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Vision and Monica Rambeau team up to fight whoever Pietro is, or if, Wanda's under some sort of spell or something, if they have to fight Agnes. Though I
Yeah.
don't think they'd honestly stand a chance. It kind of seems like they wouldn't stand a chance against Agnes.
I'm intrigued to see if like let's say Sword is like fighting their way in and Vision's fighting them or he's fighting whoever, like there's still the question of can he survive outside of the hex? Because you
Right.
take him out the hex, that's game over for Vision at the very least. So that's definitely like a major like Achilles heel for the good guys come the final battle.
Or who knows? Maybe they'll make some trade.
Mhm.
Maybe Agnes will make something that can make Vision come back permanently.
Right.
But in exchange, Wanda has to do something for her,
Mhm.
and that's how we lead into the multiverse of madness. You never know. It could be something like that.
That's true. That would be a very interesting setup to help just pave everything towards that.
Yeah, there's so much stuff still going on, and it seems like everyone's trying to get something from Wanda from a different angle. You know
Right.
what I mean? Everyone is using Wanda for some purpose, whether it's outside
Mhm.
the hex or inside of it.
For
Um,
sure.
do you have any other predictions or anything else you want to cover?
At this point, the what's it called? The aerospace engineer, Monica's specialist, better be Reed Richards or something, because I'm gonna lose it if it's not. I'll remember I got really excited when he was like, there they are, and I was like, if I see four different people in spacesuits, I'm gonna go crazy. There was just a bunch of sword people, and I was like, oh my god, that's that's underwhelming. Yeah, at this point, the way they're teasing up this cameo, I don't imagine it'll be like underwhelming. It just better be like yes, this is it lived up to the hype. I feel like it has to be Reed or like I don't know, maybe they'll bring in Beast or something from X-Men. I have no idea, but like it has to be like at this point it's definitely a new character, I feel, which I'll take my words back from last week's review because the way
Mm-hmm.
Bentley described it, it seems like someone he's never worked with before. So I think they casted someone new under the radar. So um yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping we get that. We're probably gonna have to wait till like the very like mid half of the finale or something. They're gonna tease that out as long as they can.
You know who's a really great engineer?
Hmm,
Mysterio.
interesting.
You know, it would be a great way to get a
This
multiverse idea
is
as a fake
before
multiverse.
this is before Far From Home, right?
I'm just saying, it's not impossible.
Yeah, because that was like his because that was his job or whatever, right? When in Stark, he was like just developing all the holographs or whatever, right?
Right. I mean, it's feasible.
Interesting. That would be a clever Spider-Man Far From Home tie-in. I forgot that would be interesting. Just Jake Gyllenhaal pops in and admits when the show can get any more crazier, Jake Gyllenhaal just pops in.
Right.
Interesting.
And my thing is like we have to explain, it has to make sense and it has to be a big cameo or a big appearance. And Doctor Strange, I think he's showing up in the show, but I don't think that's who Paul Bettany's
Yeah.
talking about. He kind of said it himself.
Mhm.
But I think either Reed Richards or I don't think it'll be an X-Men character. I really don't. Um,
Fair enough.
I think they don't want to do that. They didn't have the plans in time. It just doesn't make sense unless it was something, because Kevin Feige moves too far ahead to have had, too many stuff. He
Yeah.
planned WandaVision and then a bunch of other stuff, the whole storyline over like 4 films. And
Yeah.
then they finally found out they got the rights to X-Men. So I really don't think that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it's not Reed Richards and it's not Mysterio. Like I don't have a good
It's like
character that we already know coming back.
it's like do you think like because Reed Richards was also part of the 20th Century Fox deal. Like, do you think they had a buffer in place, or were they counting on like, yes, like I hope I hope we buy out Fox so we can use Reed Richards?
That's a good point. I will say that the thing with Fox is that that deal could have happened under the table. It could have been agreed with beforehand. Whereas X-Men, I'm not sure with, because they already announced they're doing a Fantastic Four movie, right? So they've obviously been developing that for a while if they've announced it, and they attached a director to it. So my thought is that, that's possible, still unlikely. I think it's more likely someone from the MCU, maybe it's a big actor in a complete cast in a completely new character. I think that's also a very big possibility. But if it was Deadpool, I'd go crazy.
That'd be, gosh, I don't know. I'm just saying, like, at this, a part of me wishes. I think we said this before. A part of me wishes they didn't say anything, just because, like, look at what happened with Mark Hamill, the Mandalorian. Like, there's not a single person up until like the episode where Grogu was on the mountain that we were like, Luke Skywalker's gonna show up in the man. Like, nobody expected that. Um, which made it all the more satisfying. But I guess we'll see.
Speaking of
I
a
guess we'll
Luke
see.
Skywalker level cameo, I believe Mark Hamill may have played the voice of Mephisto in an animated show.
Interesting.
Just saying,
Yeah,
how crazy would that be?
at this point, well, actually, I've had my thoughts on Mephisto too, because I've also heard rumors that like it, or at least like taught like discussions that it could be the Doctor Strange villain Nightmare, which would just roll into
Right.
multiverse of madness. So like either two, I think could be swapped out for Agnes's boss. I don't know. That would be, imagine that Mark Hamill just Mark Hamill. Mark Hamill shows up in two giant cameos to just uproot the fandom community. Like,
It would be nuts.
I don't know. I'm like, I'm going through like Paul. I'm gonna go through Paul Bettany's IMDb. I'm like, who have you not worked with? Who could
Right.
have been casted?
He's worked with most
Um,
of the Avengers.
yeah, and it's like, is he? Because I've also thought about, is he talking about someone he hasn't worked with MCU wise, or is he talking about someone in general he's never worked with? Because I don't think he
Right.
worked with Jake Gyllenhaal, so like that could work. But it's also like, I don't think he ever starred against. You know, she probably won't show up, but like Brie Larson, like she's MCU, he's MCU, but they haven't worked together. So is that what he means
Right.
too? I'm not saying she'll show up. I'm just saying like, if for example, I don't know. Guess we'll find out in 2 weeks because that's how it's looking.
Yeah. And I'm just saying, if Deadpool was to show up in any show, wouldn't it make sense to be? It's not going to happen. Let's be honest. But wouldn't it make sense to be WandaVision, the most meta show the MCU's ever had?
Yeah, yeah. It's probably. I mean, it makes sense. It'd be a major bombshell to drop that kind of thing just in the middle of all this craziness. But who knows? Who knows at this point? I just know the community's gonna be definitely a buzz depending on who's casted, who it is, and whatever.
Yeah, last thing, do you have any idea? I don't know what the book's about. Do you think it's something to harness Wanda's powers and it's Agnes is feeding on it, and that's why Wanda's reality is kind of faltering?
Yeah, I think the book is either it's gonna be one of those literal like do a deal with the devil type thing. We're gonna see her like sign her name or whatever. Um, or like that's like just her symbol of power, and like that's the battery that's been drawing from Wanda, and like she's like Agnes is now like times 10 power levels times 10, Wanda's minus 10, and that's our final battle. It's probably gonna be like one of those, excuse me, one of those destroy the MacGuffin type final battles. That'll be the objective, I feel.
Yeah, I'll be really interested how it turns out, but I think that wraps up this video of the 2010s version of The Office, not The Office, of WandaVision, which kind of felt like The Office meets Modern Family. Let us know what you
Yeah.
thought. What are your theories in the comments section down below? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the video. We'll see you next time.
Peace out.